Today, I want to talk to you about vision. A vision for your life, a vision for your future, a vision that is so big that it would blow your mind if only you could grab a hold of it. I've asked people before, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to head? And I hate to say it, but I've seen people just get so discouraged and almost irritated when I've asked that question. I felt kind of bad because they just answered and said, I don't know. I have no idea where I want to go, and I have no idea what I want to do. All I know is that right now, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to regret it. And life does kind of suck, and it will suck worse if I don't make a change and if I don't get a bigger vision for my life. I remember one time I was planning a vacation, and I had waited way too long. I knew it was coming, but I didn't take any time to actually think about what I wanted to do, and I really didn't save enough money to do what I would want to do. I had big dreams and big vision for a vacation that would be meaningful, that my kids would love, that we'd have memories for a lifetime. And in the end, I ended up with no clear vision, no clear direction, and we did a staycation. Yeah, we stayed home. Why did we do that? Because I didn't know where I was supposed to go and what I was supposed to do, and I didn't want to waste time, I didn't want to waste money, and I was unprepared for the future. So I want to encourage you, because it's important for us to look at our lives that way. Where do we want to end up? Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? What do we want to see accomplished in our lives? What's the big picture? How will we have the adventures that we were always looking for in our lives? How can we do this? So let's ask the question, what is vision? Vision is actually a clear picture of a desired future. That's it. That's what vision is. It's a clear picture of a desired future. It's kind of a big mental picture of the intended destination. It's a mental picture of what things will look like tomorrow, a picture of the future and the exciting possibilities at hand. I think it's really important for us to figure out where we want to go so that we're not driving our lives recklessly. It's almost like a blind man getting in a car and being given the keys and told to drive and go somewhere. He's going to get in the car and he's going to start to drive, but he's going to hit a tree, fall off a cliff. He might have some fun. It might be an adventure, but he's not going to end up anywhere. Many of us are living our lives that way. We're driving the vehicle of our lives with no aim, with no focus, with no big desires, no intended destination, and therefore we never get where we want to go. Now, everyone needs a vision. We have been made in the likeness and the image of God. God is a visionary. God is a creator. God has big plans. And actually, if you look at the whole creation story in Genesis, you see that God had plans and visions for this world and for creatures and for people and for the animals and for the trees and for the seas and for the planets and for the stars. God had big vision. He's a visionary. He's a creator. He sets things in motion, and those things come to pass. He speaks things and things come to pass. He sees things and it comes to pass. And then he created us. And you know what? He wants us to be a visionary just like him. He wants us to imagine things that could be and then create them and see them come to pass. We need vision. I remember one time I was a pastor at a local church and I wanted to talk to people about vision. And so I decided that I was going to bring out some balls, and I brought out some like those little balls you buy at Walmart, and I brought out like 12 of them, and I came up to the congregation. There's like 100 people in the room, and I said, guys, today I thought it'd be fun to have some fun and lighten up a little bit and do something zany, and instead of just sitting here passively listening, I wanted to kind of lighten the mood. So I'm going to play some music, I'm going to flash some lights, and we're going to have some fun, and I'm going to give you these balls, and I want you to do something with it. I want you to have some fun. So I threw all these balls out to them, cranked up the music, had some thumping techno going, and lights were flashing. And it was funny. Everybody just sat there holding the balls. And then they looked at me and they looked at each other and they looked at me and they looked at each other and they didn't know what to do. And then I could kind of tell like there was a few people that were getting curious because I wasn't going to stop the music until somebody started to do something. So all of a sudden I looked at somebody and I said, hey man, Do you want to use this ball or not? Do you want to have some fun or not? So all of a sudden, one dude finally said, yeah. And he threw the ball and kind of bounced it up in the air. And next thing you know, people were kind of bouncing the ball around like you'd see at a rock concert. It was pretty funny, especially because a lot of the people were older and they were in their suits and stuff. And so they started bouncing the ball around a little bit. And next thing you know, I said, listen, do it, man. Play, have fun. And so they started bouncing it even more. And then some of the guys started getting up. And not only did they started bouncing, but they get all excited. But the thing was, they didn't know what they were actually, doing with the balls. There wasn't any goal or there wasn't any aim. So after bouncing it around for a little while and kind of playing around with it, they started throwing it at each other. They started wailing it at each other. It was the craziest thing. The balls were flying all over the place. They were hitting the ceiling fans, hitting the stage lights, whacking like old lady Ethel right off the church hat. It was kind of hilarious, but then it started getting scary. Now they started getting wild because they didn't really have a goal and they didn't have a purpose. They started throwing the balls at each other aggressively. And next thing you know, I thought it was going to be pandemonium and a riot up in there. So I had to finally just stop the music, just say, okay, everybody take a moment of silence and just relax for a minute. And so they calmed down and I asked them, hey, listen, I want you to give me your evaluation. What do you think just happened? Tell me about the feelings that you had. Tell me about that experience. And it was funny because some said, at first I didn't know what to do. It seemed like we weren't supposed to do this. It seemed like this wasn't right. Others finally said, once we got into this thing, it seemed like there was no focus. And we started to lose the excitement of the game. And then we started to realize there was nothing to strive for. There was no reward in this game. There was no point in this game. And next thing you know, we started taking shots at each other. At first, we were playing around with each other. Next thing you know, we started to play against each other. There was distraction. There was fear. Some people were really afraid that they were going to get whacked in the head with a ball or hurt. There was no organization. It was a misguided team effort, no unity, no objection, no strategy. In fact, some people just started getting outright kind of rebellious and wild, taking shots at the leaders. No practice or skill required whatsoever. So the problem with that game was there was lots of action. It was fun at first, but there was no reason for it and no point, no goal that we were aiming for. There's a quote that I remember hearing a long time ago. Without a goal, people will shoot at anything and they will miss every time. So it is a life that has no vision is the same thing. Helen Keller, if you know anything about her, she was a blind and deaf gal who learned how to read and how to write and became a awesome person who was really inspirational for a whole generation of people with disability. She says that the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but having no vision. If we don't seek a vision for our lives, we'll waste our lives and die. If we don't ever know what kind of vision we can have, we will perish. The Bible tells us this, that without vision, the people will perish. If we don't know who we are, where we're going, why we're going there, what we want to do, we're just going to end up miserable, depressed, frustrated, wandering around in circles, and then finally just die. It's pretty drastic. The Bible's kind of clear. Like if we have no vision, we have no life. We end up dead. Without vision, the people perish. No vision equals death. It's that serious for us to figure out a vision for our lives, set some goals, and go for it. No vision equals death to me means it's a death of hope. There's no thoughts that things can be better because all we know is what's around us right now. It's a death of our passion. You see people becoming lethargic, depressed, sad, full of grief with their lives because what is there to live for? It's a death of dreams. For some people, we had dreams when we were a kid. We wanted to be superheroes. We wanted to be doctors. We wanted to be nurses. We wanted to be rock stars. We wanted to do things with our lives. We may even had an unction as to what we should be doing with our lives. But then life got in the way. Things have changed. That was then. This is now. It's a death of the opportunities we have in our lives. If we don't have a vision, then we have no motivation. If we don't have a motivation, we have no action. If we have no action, we don't produce anything with our lives. We don't experience the best that God has to offer for us. So many times we lose our direction, we aimlessly live our lives, we never hit any targets, and many times as it costs us to act out, it causes us to turn inward, it causes us to just lay down and die.
Without a vision, we turn on ourselves and each other.
Well, I didn't want to leave these people. I didn't want to leave them sitting with a ball in their hands, feeling like embarrassed because they had started something fun and then they turned against each other. And it was just such a weird experience for them. I wanted to leave them with something great. So I had them replay the game. But this time I changed the music a little bit and I put the lights up just a little bit. And then we brought out a single basketball hoop that the ball could fit through. I didn't say anything. I just gave them the balls back, put the thing on the stage, the hoop on the stage, and said, all right, everybody, go for it. It was unbelievable, the difference. Instead of throwing the ball up and around and just goofing off, and instead of throwing the ball at each other and being aggressive, they immediately knew exactly what to do. They started to shoot the ball. They started to give the ball to other people to shoot. And then when somebody missed it, they started to encourage them and say, go for it. Do it again. You can do it. And next thing you know, they started to play as a team. They started to root each other on, and they would cheer and celebrate when somebody would get the ball in the basket. It was absolutely fantastic. Some of the really aggressive people that were at one point throwing balls at each other, one guy actually got up and ran up to the hoop and slam dunked it. It was such a great experience to see that if you give someone a net and a ball, they know exactly what to do with it. If you give someone a vision and some opportunity, they'll know exactly what to do with it. I remember a song years ago when I was a kid, 8th grade, I think it was. There was a rock song that was just so cool. And it was actually a video too. And this guy, Dee Snider, the band was Twisted Sister. And the video starts off with this kid playing music in his room really loud, and the dad breaks into the room and gives him the lecture. And basically he says to him, son, what do you want to do with your life? And the son is so cool because he looks up and he goes, I want to rock. It was awesome. And all of a sudden the music starts, and then you see this guy on a stage rocking out with people, having fun, banging their heads, raising their hands. He knew what he wanted to do with his life, and then he went off and did it. And I just love how sure his statement was, how confident it was. The big vision, I want to rock.
Want a better life? Get a bigger vision. Vision makes life better.
There are 8 reasons that I can think of why vision is so important in our lives. It will clarify direction. It will facilitate function. It'll put us in a place where we can start to use what we have for a purpose. It'll prompt passion in our lives. We'll have something we're living for, something we're saving for, something we're working for, something we're studying for. It'll foster risk-taking. We'll actually go out of our comfort zones to go and throw a ball into the hoop, for us to go out into the world and try new things to get us to the place we want to be. It also provides a purpose. It gives us a reason to get up in the morning. It gives us a reason to try again when things fall apart. It gives us a reason to keep on going. And it motivates invitation for others to join us. It gives us a clear, desired future, a picture of where we could go if only we would shoot straight and aim for the goal. It gives us a clear, challenging picture of the future as we believe it can be and as it should be. So I want to ask the question today, where do you want to go? What do you want your life to look like? I'm not asking you to figure out the specifics of the how right now. I'm not asking you to get crazy in depth on details. We're looking for the big picture right now. So with that, where do you want to go? Where do you want to live? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of family are you hoping for someday? What kind of job do you want? What kind of meaningful work do you want to do in your life? What kind of legacy do you want to have someday? Where do you want to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now? I think a lot of times people don't know where they want to go because they don't know who they are. Many times, people don't know who they are. They don't know what motivates them. They don't know what gets them fired up. They don't know what they've been created to do and how they've been wired. I think a lot of times people are following the vision of someone else, or following the vision of culture, following the vision of expected outcome. Many people are following a program or a script that might not be right for you. It might not be right for me. Many people follow the script of, be a good kid, go to school, go to college, graduate college, get married, work in corporate America, get promoted, save your money, move to Florida, retire on a yacht somewhere, and that's it. That's life. So many people have that, the American dream vision or whatever. That's not the only vision. There's a lot of vision out there if we would only open up our hearts and minds to seek it. So I think about how we may be pressured for somebody else's vision. Maybe a dad is commanding a son to be a football player when he really longs to be a concert pianist. He has a vision, his dad has a vision, and unfortunately, dad's vision can sometimes trump son's vision, and son squashes his vision for someone else. Maybe a woman longs to start a business and her husband says, no, you're going to stay at home and raise the kids. But maybe that's not the vision for her. And maybe if he could see it, there's another way to do things so that his vision can come to pass, her vision can come to pass. And as a team, they could work together to see fruitfulness and joy in their lives. Or a daughter who wants to be a dog groomer, but is forced into a 4-year college to become like an executive or something because, that's the way our family rolls and we're all college grads. But this kid just wants to go and learn how to wash the doggies and start her own little doggy business and be an entrepreneur. She doesn't need all that, but she's forced into all that and her vision gets squashed. It's so important for us to fully embrace our vision. We need to determine who we will follow. What voice are we going to follow? What passion and dream are we going to follow? And break from the expectations that others force on us that ruin our vision. Others may have tried to label you, pigeonhole you, put limiting beliefs on you. They try to say to you, who are you to think you can do that? You're just crazy. You can't be a rock star. I want to rock is foolish. You'll be broke. You'll be a starving musician. Washing dogs? There's no money in that. Go get a real job, kid. Then you can be like me. I'm just saying, we need to sit down. Instead of falling in line, we need to sit down and think about how we can color outside the lines in our lives, how we can think about what is impossible and make it possible, and how we can go for our dreams and silence the blah, blah, blah of other people's visions in our lives. For me, my personal vision in life is to be a proclaimer, to be a reacher, and to be a teacher. You don't have to be a preacher. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be anything. You could be a hairdresser. You could start your own business of, burrito business or something. You could make music in your basement that gets all over the world. There's so many things you could do. You could be the dog groomer who starts a chain of dog grooming businesses. You could be the guy who just wants to have fantastic relationship with your kids and travels the world together. You could be the person who wants to run marathons and raise money for cancer awareness. You can do anything that you set your mind to, that you've been gifted to do. You can do it if you'll just have the vision and make it plain. So you remember I told you about the vacation I didn't plan? And how disappointing that was? Well, the next year I realized that was terrible, and I wrote down a vision of what I wanted to do the next year. And this time we wanted to go to Chicago. So we had a specific destination. We wanted to go to Chicago, but we wanted to go around the Great Lakes, through Michigan, down through Wisconsin, eat cheese curds, and go right through and see some of the towns, stop at some scenic places, and go into Chicago. We wanted to stay at a beautiful Airbnb in a trendy neighborhood. We wanted to eat food we'd never eaten at in places that we'd never been. We wanted to see sights we'd never seen. My daughter really wanted to see the American Girl store, like their big store on Magnificent Mile. We wanted to go to the Bean. We wanted to walk the mile. We wanted to eat pizza in Little Italy. We wanted to drive through Little Greece. We wanted to experience the sights, the sounds, and the culture. We wanted to go to the Museum of Science and Industry. 23. We wanted to do these things. So you know what we did? We wrote it down, we made a plan, and we did it. And I'm going to tell you what, it was an amazing trip. I just talked to my daughter about it today, and she said, Dad, that was so fantastic. I loved it. I want to do it again. How cool was that? And I said, you know what? That was a big vision and a big dream, and we did it. So what I want you to do this week is to just think. I want you to think big picture. I want you to think about where your life could be, where you might want to end up, the kind of things you'd like to do, the kind of home you'd like to live in, the kind of car you'd like to drive, the kind of friends you'd like to have, the kind of relationships that you want to foster, the kind of hobbies you want to pursue. You want to look ahead and think huge. Think big. Don't let your mind start being self-limiting. Don't let yourself start to doubt and say, I can't do that. That's unrealistic. I want you to just kind of dream big right now. Take a big white piece of paper and a pen, and anything that comes to mind, start to write it down. Write your vision, start to write it down, and you're going to be blown away by what happens. So I want you to stop what you're doing, turn off your TV, put down your phone, take some time, pray and ask God and ask yourself, what do I want to do with my life? What am I passionate about? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to go physically, financially, spiritually, and emotionally from here on out? I want you to get crazy with it. I want you to do like Prince and let's get crazy. Let's get nuts. We've got to get crazy and nuts for a bigger vision for our lives. What's your vision? What's your dream? Start to write it down. So that's it for this week. I want to encourage you, please like and subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends. So like and subscribe. That helps me to see the vision of helping millions of people. My first goal right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can start to find ways to have YouTube recommend this to more people. My dream right now is to be able to interview people who've gone before me who are excellent and awesome at what they do and helping people to get that to you. I hope that you'll make comments down below as to what your big dream is. What's your goal? What's your vision? Start to write it and then put it down in the texts below. Next week, we're going to talk about some practical steps. So today we talked about why you need a vision. Next week, it's going to be how to write the vision. Then the following week, it's going to be how to make that vision plain. Then we're going to talk about how to run with the vision. And then we're going to talk about some other things about having a team and about having core values. Join me. I look forward to seeing you next week. I love you guys. I'm proud of you, and I know you can do it. Until next time, have a great day.